Hola! Today, we're going to learn how to use our last new verb tense of Spanish 2, which is el imperfecto. El imperfecto is another past tense, and next year in Spanish 3, you'll learn a lot about how to use it and when to use it along with the preterite or instead of the preterite. For now, our goal for the end of the year is to get you familiarized with the conjugations and start getting you used to using the imperfecto, conjugating verbs in the imperfecto, writing sentences, and answering questions. So as we get started, we're going to let you know that we mainly use the imperfect to talk about things that we used to do, things that we did all the time, things that we did often, once again, all in the past. So for the time being, if I ask you to translate a sentence and you see the words used to in the English sentence, make sure that you don't translate them. They're going to be a key to help you recognize that you need to use the imperfect. It's formed initially the way we form most verbs. Quitas la AR, you get rid of the AR. Y añades las terminaciones, you add the appropriate endings. The endings for the imperfecto for verbos AR are aba, abas, aba, abamos, abais, and aban. Now, you may notice that the conjugation endings for the yo form and the el ea usted form in the imperfecto are both aba for AR verbs. That means that you're really going to have to make sure that you look at the context of a sentence, the words around the verb conjugation, or the context of a short paragraph, to make sure that you know exactly to whom the verb conjugation is referring. Moving on, much like in the pretérito, ER and IR verbs share the same endings. And there was, of course, one accent on the nosotros form habamos for the AR verbs. Here, every single ending has an accent on that first I for some of them and the only I for most of them. And you need to be aware that you need to get in the habit of writing those accents down now. What you're going to do, quitar la ER o IR, get rid of the ER or IR, and añades las terminaciones, you add the endings. Ia, ias, ia, iamos, iais, and ian. Now, once again, you're going to have to make sure you're aware of the fact that the yo form and the el ea usted form have the exact same ending. So you still need to make sure that you're aware of context clues to help you recognize about whom a sentence is speaking. One of the things that students have often liked about el imperfecto in the past is that verbs that are often stem changers or irregulars, such as estar and querer, are actually completely, totally, and utterly regular in el imperfecto. So you'll see that I chose for the examples that I'm showing you here, two verbs that are irregular in el pretérito. Both estar and querer are irregular in el pretérito. In the present, estar is also irregular. In the present, querer is a stem-changing verb. That first E changes to an IE. But you'll notice that in the imperfecto, there's nothing strange or different or irregular about it. For estar, we have estaba, estabas, estaba. Estábamos, estabais, and estaban. And for querer, we have quería, querías, quería. Queríamos, queríais, and querían. Before you get the last bit of notes, I'm going to ask that you pause the video briefly. And in the two boxes that there are for you to practice a little bit, please choose two verbs. You can choose them from the vocab list. They can be verbs that are, ones that you've struggled with in the past, in the preterite or the present tense. I'd prefer that you choose one AR verb and one ER or one IR verb to conjugate in those boxes. And please bring them up to me if you'd like me to check your conjugations. The only verbs you need to stay away from at this point in time are ser, ir, and ver, because those are the only three irregular verbs in the imperfecto. And you also need to be aware that there are no stem changers in the imperfect, and also no spelling changers. We don't have anything like gar de gay, or car de que, or zar de say. So please keep that in mind. There is nothing odd or different that you need to look out for here. After you conjugate the verbs, once again, have me check them if you like, and then let's get ready to move forward. The last bit of notes you have to do here has to deal with the tres verbos irregulares, the 3 irregular verbs in the imperfect. And this centering got a little bit off there on the top. I apologize for that, but ser, of course, is the first verb on the left, the top left-hand corner if you're looking at your screen. So the irregular conjugations of ser are era, eras, era, éramos, erais, and eran. Ir is the other verb that's on the top. You have iba, ibas, iba, íbamos, ibais, and iban. And then you have ver on the bottom to see. The only thing that's irregular about ver, really, is that you don't get rid of the e in the ending. You keep it. So we have veía, veías, veía, veíamos, veíais, veían. And as far as information that you need to get down, that's really it in terms of how we conjugate verbs in the imperfect. You need to complete the practice activity on Página 3, have me look it over, and then you can move on to some practice activities. If everyone finishes early, maybe we'll move on to a game or two as a whole class. Gracias.